Mark, faceoffs have been a real problem for Syracuse all year. They've gone with Jack Fine. They've gone with Johnny Richiusa. Today, they're going to go against the very angry Petey Lasalla. I mean, LaSalle is good enough in his own right, but he's coming off a subpar game against Duke last weekend. I think he's going to be a little bit upset at the way that game went about. And right off the first whistle, face-off violation against Syracuse.
Yeah, and LaSalle will like to stay on offense, and if Syracuse decides to get him out of that equation, it gives Virginia the opportunity to play 5-on-5. So LaSalle is not your typical face-off guy here, creating offense from behind.
Look at him, looking to dodge and shoot. Doesn't get through. Relentless on the ground, LaSalle is too. Doesn't have to pick this one up, but Virginia's got it. Now looking for a little unsettled. Pass in front. Ball was dangerously loose in front of the crease, but Will Mark was able to.
Beautiful shot.
Fine in LaSalle. If Syracuse is anywhere near 50% from the faceoff dot today, that's a win for Gary Gates' crew.
Yeah, they haven't in any ACC contest. They are almost automatic from that spot.
The quickest hands in the game, I think, Kark.
He scoops it, he gets a defense off kilter.
And then Max Rosa had to come to the defense, and McConvey's size and strength just.
So it's something Sean Kerwin obviously scouted against Syracuse. He's taken his midfielders, traditionally who play from up top, from behind. We see McConvey behind. We saw the goal from Garno behind. Inverting is definitely something. He does it from either pipe. That's a front pipe cut right there. He backside cuts in terms of the pipes. His ability to sense where the defense is and to time the cuts is out of this world. It's remarkable. The sixth sense, right? Like, okay, I'm dodging and I don't even have the time really to locate Dixon, but I know he's there. So I turn my head for a fraction of a second and I make that pass.
It's like Gretzky-esque. You know, I know he's going to be there without seeing him there.
And that's believing in your offense, right? Like rep after rep every single week at practice.
This is a great chance for Syracuse, and Nunes makes the save.
His leadership. He's able to galvanize the team, and he's taken all these young guys because they play a ton of freshmen. He's taken them all under his wing, and they will miss his leadership a year from now, but they'll also miss his play because he can own a one-on-one matchup.
22 goals this year, 55 goals in 5 years, including the COVID year at Lehigh. Inside goal, that's way too easy. This time it's the freshman Truett Sunderland. Sunderland says, you guys talking about all Syracuse's freshmen. He's a pretty good freshman here in Charlottesville, and Truett Sunderland scores his 6th goal of the year.
Here's the problem for Cuse, Chris. They get the goal by Kurth, right? You feel like, okay, maybe there's some momentum changing here. Maybe they could get another one, make it 6-2. But when you're not winning any faceoffs, you're asking an exhausted defense to play defense again. And it looks like Syracuse is caught in between man and zone. They're in zone right there as the substitutions are lying. And Sutherland just understands that. You saw all the shirts. The blue shirts are playing all the guys coming off the bench in the substitution. But they forgot about the guy who had the ball because Syracuse had the numbers game right there. They had 6 defensive players in the hole. Virginia had 3 offensive players, thinking Virginia's going to wait, but Sutherland's like, nope, not today.
Richiusa won that draw. Then he lost possession. Some
evil offensive talent in 2006, graduated as a Terp legend and played Major League Lacrosse as a midfielder. Played both positions, but that high wing two-handed lefty. I think stylistically, Walters played for Team USA. He was a all-pro for a gazillion years. Michael Leo's got some Joe Walters in him.
A freshman from Seaford on Long Island, another St. Anthony's product. They are just a factory right now. Look at this chance. Forcing Mark to make the save.
In the PLL, one of the best, if not the best, face-off man of all time. Petey Lasalla is my number 2 prospect heading into the 2023 PL draft, right behind Michael Sisselberger from Lehigh. But what I love about Lasalla is his ability to track ground balls on 50-50 scrums. But also, if you don't pay attention to him, Chris, on offense, he makes you pay. And a couple weeks ago in North Carolina, we actually saw him slinging it from deep with his offhand.
Yeah, right. Sometimes I think they may be calling him off, and he's like, no, I got this. I'm going to stick on.
I've been around long enough. I'm not coming off. I earned the right. This is a huge face-off win for Syracuse. You know, statistically, Cuse made some adjustments, only down 6-4. I'm going to call that a slash. So Cuse's extra man, talk about a huge face-off right now. If they could get this, and if they're in pressure inside the box, I would think about calling a timeout, because you don't want to waste this extra man opportunity, because you might have the best group in the country.
We're going to get a procedure, though. It's going to go against Syracuse. Jim Lafredo, Andrew Smith, Dan Zalugozima are
in Charlottesville rocking the tie.
Beautiful. Here's Petey.
See, the issue right now for Syracuse is you decide to take Sam Alexa, right? He's been phenomenal this season, 48 in blue. You decide you want to run, we're going to run. We're going to pressure you, and we don't want to get into a 6-on-6 game with Syracuse in their offense. So let's just create a pace 6-4 in terms of the face-off breakdown. But the issue is all those other areas that Syracuse has to be clean hasn't been the case. Blown clears, some easy transfer of passes, balls in the dirt. You're not winning this game if you can't play clean everywhere on the field.
Saw Richiusa's been 50% before that face-off that Petey Lasalla tracks down.
That's a swarm. That's what you need. But LaSalle, that's why he's my #2 prospect. He'll find a way to get the ball. Right, like when he loses face-offs or he gets double-teamed, LaSalle is so good when the ball's on the floor. He can score goals. He gives you all those other little aspects of what you want in a face-off guy.
And a beautiful ground ball and a punt return clear by Kate Sawstead.
Right-handed hammers. This extra man unit is a treat to watch.
Now Syracuse going with Jack Fine at the face-off dot on a huge face-off.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay because I think it throws Petey off in terms of getting him into a rhythm. I know Richiusa has really found his groove a little bit, but when you put Fine out there and you start rotating the guys, Petey then has to think and adjust in terms of the styles of Fine and Richiusa. And what was at stake? You make that huge play just to give it back.
And you've made the point before in this first half, Clark, that Syracuse has actually done pretty well at the face-off X, all things considered. And there's a flag down. Now they get a delayed call that's going to go against Virginia.
And if Richiusa and Fine can go 50% like they essentially did in the first half, Cotter, Cuse could win this game.
Lars looking at his notes, scribbling a couple of things down. 11 turnovers for Syracuse in the first half, leading to 31 shots, 18 of them on goal for this Virginia offense. And right away, a face-off violation against Syracuse, and Petey will put it in play to start the second half.
Yeah, 11 turnovers for Syracuse, only 15 shots, and the Cavaliers have doubled those shots with 31. You just can't give this offense all those easy looks. You have to rest your defense if you're Cuse. You can't turn it over in the middle of the field.
Connor almost turns it over there, but picks it up off the turf. Dixon looking to dodge. Comes back upfield, gets a little bit of space and scores. Fourth of the day, 45th on the year for the Slim Reaper. And the lead is back to 6, and big battle for a loose ball. Thought we might get a push in the back, didn't get it. Chismar initially came out of there with it. Now we get a whistle. We'll get a loose ball procedure call against Virginia. So now Kirst.
Here celebrate. 2 goals to start this third quarter. The highest scoring offense in the nation. Proving you why they're so legit.
Petey wins the faceoff. Juke move on possession. That pass was tipped, trying to get it back to Petey. How about that? Xander Dixon trying to skip pass over to 23 for the goal.
With his offhand, Petey's a righty. He's got his left hand.
Petey, Schellenberger, Mark makes the save. Can they get early on?
Go out of Loyola Blakefield High School in Baltimore. Father Billy Dwan was on the Hopkins staff for 20 years, and young Billy has quite the future.
They will wave off the flag because the goal was good. It looked like Billy Dwan was surprised he was that untouched in front of the crease cart. Like he expected to get drilled. And he turned around, was like, no one's going to lay me out? All right, I'll score.
The bigger issue, I think he was worried about tiptoeing. So Lars Tiffany is saying, anybody but Cole Kirst, we are not sliding to. So Cole Kirst wins that matchup and puts Virginia in a vulnerable spot to double quickly. So if I'm Gary deep into that clearing zone, you know you have a surefire finisher. And that's a luxury, too, because essentially you have a guy who can play defense, Chris, but you also have a guy that you don't have to rush off. Like Petey Lasalla in the faceoff game, you don't need to rush off Noah Chismar. He's comfortable with the ball and his stick.
This guy the same, number 4 for Virginia, is a guy who can log a lot of minutes on both sides of the field, create all kinds of matchup problems. Because of that player's skill level, right, Clark, and also because of the skill level of the personnel you've kept on the field to defend it. Horn sound.
Well said by our colleague Dana Boyle. What a beautiful story. And in 2023, we're celebrating what's good in the sport of college lacrosse, men's and women's. And what a story. Ryan Scoble, a complete fighter. Her brother CJ, well, he might win the Tewaaraton. He's a front runner along with Brendan O'Neill and Pat Cavanaugh. O'Neill from Duke and Cavanaugh from Notre Dame. And then the 5th Kirst brother, got to give the young guy some respect. He's in the cage playing in New Jersey as a high school junior. That's Caden Kirst. So Mom Michelle country. I mentioned also in the ACC of Virginia and Notre Dame that are up there. But the way they move the ball and the way that they also feed from the crease. And what I mean by that, Chris, is guys catch the ball in the crease and then make like ridiculous passes off that, where we're used to guys on the crease doing what when they catch the ball? Just shooting.
Yeah. Saw Burt Whistle. That's just his spot.
Connor Schellenberger and Thomas McConvey and Petey Lasalla, all these guys have won national championships. McConvey didn't. He's a transfer from Vermont. But you look at all these guys who just have logged monster minutes and have played deep into May against a Syracuse team that's essentially inexperienced when you think of the numbers of games, right? And they are coming. Trust me when I say this. Syracuse is coming. And they're going to fix this. You know, the face-off game in the offseason, they have a tremendous face-off guy in Johnny Mullins coming, who's from Massachusetts, who actually plays a little bit like Petey Lasalla, how he could stay on the field and he could shoot. So I think that's going to be huge for Syracuse next year, to give them another option at the face-off X. But you bring back so many of these offensive players and a lot of these D guys as well. So just experience-wise, polar opposite teams.
Like he was running in from the box. That's going to make his dad happy. There he is.
Stand up, Pete Sr. Your boy's had one heck of a career. He's got one more game guaranteed at Glockner in the regular season against Notre Dame. But that's what makes Petey Petey. He's got the guts, he's got the grit, he's got the nerve to stay on, and he's got the game. I've seen so many different shots out of Petey Lasalla over the years, coming down right off the wing and shooting high heat. You saw it inside this time too, and that's why he's a chameleon. He's a difference maker in the game, Cotter, because he could stay on and do so many things outside of just winning faceoffs. Jack Eldridge kind of lines up in what he means to this team moving forward, because that guy's essentially taken every draw.
He's going to win 1,000 faceoffs in a Virginia uniform. Remarkable.
And the one thing I did mention, toughness. Like Petey last week did not have the game he wanted against Nassau. Like coming into today, you knowing Petey and you knowing his body of work, did you know he was going to respond?
For sure. And he did right off the bat.
Because they didn't win that national championship. But when we spoke to Lars Tiffany this week, he's like, they need to be recognized. Like to win the ACC that many years. From 83 to 86, the 10 shots. The efficiency of Xander Dixon and the ability to transform his game, because he was a behind-the-cage player in high school. And now he's a fantastic crease finisher.
Lars making some substitutions. David Roselle in goal, the veteran. Goal of the game. It just shows the overall skill of the Canadians. You mentioned it with Finn Thompson and Simmons all game long. Those two have been playing a two-man game out front. And that goal was ridiculous.
Goal of the game, I'm going to say it. Crazy minutes on the defensive side. Gets one past Roselle. You know what I mean, though, Cotter, right? It's all about the fit when you draft these guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're going to talk a lot about it. The PLL draft coming up on the 9th of May. We're going to be in Bristol with Ryan Boyle and the crew as the Horns